إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله.
But we are here together as a small community, worshiping, prostrating to the same Allah who sent those very first words of the Quran. And we are reliving the teachings of that same beloved messenger and prophet of his sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So for that we must thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's a great blessing of Allah that we have a musalla, we have a prayer room here. We have this space available for Jumu'ah, for these prayers. And we are allowed to hold events to educate people about Islam and to be a practicing Muslim here. Many people do not have that opportunity. Our brothers and sisters at McGill have been struggling for years after they lost their musalla, their prayer space. And we're praying outside in the snow, on the field, on staircases, here and there, and still don't have the type of space that they would like. So it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that we must thank Allah. We must also appreciate the efforts of those who made this possible. Right? So our brothers and sisters who worked to establish the MSA, to establish a Muslim presence on campus, and those in the administration who have helped make it possible as well. And we must value these blessings as well, because one of the greatest ways to reject a blessing, which of course something which we do not want to do, is by actually not valuing it, by disregarding it, by letting it be ignored. And that is something that we do not want to do. And it is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we have a community here. And being a member of the community, being a member of the Muslim community is a great blessing as well. And to actually have that available. There are Muslims who live in many different parts of North America, in Canada and the US, where there is no community, where they are alone, where there are maybe the members of their family and that is it. Or maybe a couple of families, and that's all. And the closest masjid, the closest place where there's Jumu'ah could be hundreds of kilometers or miles away. So it's a great blessing that we have a community here as well. The Prophet ﷺ has instructed us, has told us to avoid being alone. The Prophet ﷺ has instructed us, as part of his guidance, is to avoid being alone. So stick together with the community, and more specifically, the community of believers. Why? The reason for that is because there is strength in being together. There is strength in togetherness. While the person who is alone can easily fall prey, or can more easily become a prey for shaitan. Just like the example that's given is that of a wolf and a lone sheep. Right? So if there's a sheep that's alone, it is more susceptible to becoming prey of the wolf. If there is more, if they're together, then that gives strength. The Prophet ﷺ described the relationship of believers as being that of the bricks of a wall. Right? We have many brick walls on this campus. Right? If you have one brick, it's not going to do you much good. Okay? Maybe you could hurt someone with it. You can defend yourself. But in terms of protection, one brick is not going to do much. Okay? If you put together 100 bricks, put together 1,000 bricks, then all of a sudden you have a structure, you have a wall, you have shelter that can offer you protection. So the Prophet ﷺ has connected us and described us as being like bricks. And bricks, when they come together, they have strength. When a brick is alone, it's very limited in terms of its strength to offer protection. Now when we have faith, which is of course the most important thing that we have in common, we also have a lot of differences. And that's always true whenever you have a community, because not everyone is alike. People have different backgrounds. People have different views, different preferences, different levels of practice. Right? So how do we overcome that? As a community, how do we overcome that and bond together? How can we get together? The Prophet ﷺ has told us a very simple formula. A very simple formula. And it's actually something very simple, but it's actually something very important and very serious as well. The Prophet ﷺ has described its seriousness by the way he has instructed us. And he said, "أَلَّا تَدْخُلُونَ الْجَنَّةَ حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا." That you will not enter paradise until you believe. وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا حَتَّى تَحَابُوا. And you will not believe until you love one another. Now that's important. That's serious. You're not going to enter Jannah until you believe. And you're not truly going to believe until you love one another. Rasulullah went on to say that, may I tell you something that if you put it into practice, you will love one another. And what was that? Afshu salam. Spread the salam. Spread the greeting of peace amongst yourselves. And that is going to increase, what is it going to do? It's going to increase the mutual love, the connection amongst each other. So that's very simple, but also very powerful. Because if you are saying salam to someone else, it tells you that at the very basic level, you have a connection. You wish well for the person. You are giving them a greeting, a dua of peace. So brothers and sisters, whenever you come across, start off with salam. Smile. Smile at one another. Don't make it so that when you get together, everyone's all gloomy and looking all upset and depressed, like that they hate being in each other's company. And smile at each other. They smile. Once on Sunday, see another brother or sister going, you see other sisters, smile at each other. Smile and share that cheerfulness with one another. The Prophet ﷺ has instructed that to us as well and told us clearly that it's an act of charity. How much effort does it take? How much effort does it take? Right? It doesn't take too much. Okay? So put a smile on your face when you greet one another. Right? All of this is a part of good customer service. Right? So you go to a store, if you're working at a store, you're instructed that, okay, you want to greet the customers with a smile, you want to say hi, hello, start off with greeting. Right? So this is all part of good customer service. Okay? So let's have good customer service between each one of us. So say salam and we greet each other with a smile. But use good judgment, okay? Because we don't want this being misused, especially with brothers. Be careful. Now when we start coming together as believers, what form should it take? What form should it take? What should we be doing? Seriously, okay, so you come together, you're saying salam, and you're like, things are going well, you're smiling, mashallah, everything's like nice. Okay, so what's supposed to happen then? What are you supposed to do? Get together for, a party? What are you supposed to do next? What should be the objective of coming together? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us very clearly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses this very clearly, addressing all of us. He says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us what our relationship should be with one another. Okay, when it comes to the community of believers, what should be the state of our relationship with one another? What level should we be at? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes all of us as awliya of one another. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes us as awliya of one another. Meaning that we are all allies. We are all allies, we are friends, protectors, supporters of one another. Okay? So that is the basic foundation of our relationship with one another. Now the question is, in doing what? Okay, you could be a friend, a supporter, a helper, a protector, but in doing what? Whatever comes to mind? Whatever you feel like doing? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us guidance on that as well. Right? He goes on to say, يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has spelled out categorically exactly in which areas the believers need to be helping one another. Because if they're going to be allies and they're going to be friends and helpers and supporters, which is great, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also told us in doing what? So, number one, enjoining what is right. Enjoining what is right, what is correct, what is the truth. Discouraging what is wrong. Okay, so coming together should have these benefits. Coming together as believers should have these benefits, that we encourage each other towards goodness. We discourage each other from the things which are wrong. And establishing prayer, giving zakah, charity, right? Obeying Allah, His messengers, and Allah. So these are the objectives. So anything that we do together, but this is like a basic, simple criteria. Okay, anytime we come together, any event that we hold, any gathering we go to, anytime we get together with one another, this is the criteria. It should be fulfilling at least one or more of these objectives. So what we want to do is create an environment. We want to create an environment, and that's very important, right? Because you only think, well, okay, if one person does something, it's not a big deal. If a few of us do whatever, it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal. Because it sets the tone. It sets the tone for what is appropriate and what is not. It sets the tone for what is acceptable and what is not. It sets the tone for what is promoted and what is discouraged. It should be very clear that by us coming together, which is great, we should be creating an environment where brothers and sisters are encouraged to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where brothers and sisters are encouraged to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to follow His guidance. And this doesn't have to be just on campus. This goes for any community. For any community of believers. The basis of coming together should be one of these objectives. So to the overall objective, to create an environment where brothers and sisters are encouraged to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to follow His guidance. Now this could take different forms. This could be through different forms. So one of the very basic ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, very important ones as well, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in that verse, is coming together to offer prayers together, regularly. Okay, coming together to establish the salah. And it may seem like it's something very basic. It may seem like, well, okay, is this why Imam has come here to tell us this? No. Okay, it is very basic. It may seem that, but it's extremely, extremely important as well. Extremely crucial, because if you're going to have anything, but if it's going to be devoid of prayers, whether it's your life or any activity or whatever you're doing, if it's going to be devoid of prayers and devoid of a proper prayer, okay, a proper prayer is one which establishes your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that gives you an opportunity to reflect, to stop and reflect, and strengthen that connection with Allah. Anything that's devoid of that type of prayer is not going to be successful. You can be doing a million things, but if the bare foundation, the basic foundation, which is the prayer, is not established, is not concrete, you're not going to see full benefits of whichever activity you're doing. So coming together to establish prayer. Coming together through a Quranic study. Studying the Quran, we're studying the Quran together. Through educational programs, right? Circles, halaqah, whatever you want to call it, halaqat. These are just some ways. Now we know that people are stressed out in today's world. Okay? If I go around and ask you how many people are stressed out today, quite a few will probably be stressed out. Okay? People are stressed out, people have tensions, problems, worries, concerns, confusions, and there's a general lack of inner peace. There's a general lack of inner peace, a lack of satisfaction. Okay? People will pretend to show that they're happy. They'll pretend and act like they know what they're doing and that they're satisfied with their lives. But if you honestly ask people, the vast majority of people will most likely say that they actually don't have inner peace. They don't have inner satisfaction. There's always something that they feel like they're lacking in their life. There's always something more that they desire that they're not able to get, and so on and so forth. Okay? So my brothers and sisters, you have to understand, you must all understand, that true inner calmness and peace is only in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Any other peace or satisfaction that you may feel, it's going to be temporary. It's going to be temporary. You know why? Because everything else is temporary. So whatever it is that you find your peace and satisfaction in, it's going to be gone one day. And when it's gone, then you're going to be finding a lack of peace again. And you're going to be confused again. And you're going to be in trouble again. Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one who is permanent. So find peace and calmness in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will always have it. Because Allah is not going anywhere. Everything else is going to disappear. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has always been there and will always be there. So, the remembrance of Allah has got to be at the center of any successful and vibrant community. If you're going to have a successful community, a vibrant community on campus, or in the city, or anywhere else, there has to be the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at its core. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. For without doubt, in the remembrance of Allah, your hearts find satisfaction. Your hearts find peace. So if you want true peace, and that's the meaning of Islam, you have people say Islam means peace. Islam doesn't really mean peace. But the word Islam does come from the root word peace, or its roots do come from peace, meaning that Islam is about submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and finding peace through that. What is Islam about? Finding peace through the submission towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you submit to Allah and His will and you do it properly, then inshallah you will find satisfaction and you will find peace. So in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is peace. So if you want peace and calmness in our community, this is something that we need to establish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also tells us, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah says that we send down the Qur'an, that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe. The Qur'an is a source of healing and mercy towards the believers. So if you want to be healed, if you want to find satisfaction, you need to connect with the Qur'an. And that should also be a central part of our community. Now, having fun activities is great. Because who doesn't like to have fun, right? Of course. So I like to have fun activities and take part in activities as well, whenever I can. Of course, activities which are halal, so we're talking about sports, or we're talking about bowling, or paintball, as brothers went recently, and other activities, right? فواجب على كل مسلم ومسلمة الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر على حسب الاستطاعة وبخاصة فيما تحت قدرتهم ومكانتهم من قرارات البيوت والأمورات في حكمها على كل صاحب علم وقلم وقدرة على البيان وكل ذي أثر في المجتمع مع العلم والحكمة أن يقوم بالإرشاد والتوجيه والنصح في الأمر والنهي والسعي في إفشاء المعروف وزوال المنكر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب استغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. أيها الناس اتقوا الله تعالى واعلموا أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: المؤمن للمؤمن كالبنيان يشد بعضه بعضا وشبك بين أصحابه. واعلموا وصلوا وسلموا يا عباد الله على من أمركم والله تعالى بالصلاة والسلام عليه، فقال تعالى: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من الهم والحزن والعجز والكسل والبخل والجبن وضلع الدين وغلبة الرجال. اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. اللهم احسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها واجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. اللهم اعز الإسلام والمسلمين. اللهم ألف بين قلوب المسلمين ووحد صفوفهم واصلح قادتهم واجمع كلمتهم على الحق يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصر دينك وكتابك وسنة نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعبادك المؤمنين المجاهدين الصادقين. اللهم اجعل سوريا ومصر وفلسطين وافغانستان وليبيا وصومال بلدا امنا مطمئنا بسخاء ورخاء وصالح بلاد المسلمين. اللهم انصر المستضعفين في كل مكان وحقق لهم النصر والفتح المبين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعل لاهل سوريا وبرما فرجا ومخرجا واذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم واقم الصلاه ان الصلاه تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. الله اكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها وأخرجت الأرض أثقالها وقال الإنسان ما لها يومئذ تحدث أخبارها بأن ربك أوحى لها يومئذ يصدر الناس أشتاتا ليروا أعمالهم فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خيرا يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Time for my khutbah / announcement, as some brothers say. So inshallah, next Jumu'ah, the Jumu'ah is going to be at background gym. Just to clarify, it's only whenever we notify you, so this Sunday Jumu'ah is going to be at background gym. The email will be sent with the location and everything. The second announcement is Sunday we're going to have the interfaith soccer tournament, and we need players basically to register so that you guys can represent Musa and join with other faith groups. The third is that there are a couple of cupcakes right outside on the condition that you smile, and then you can get a free cupcake, inshallah. Yeah, jazakallah. Yes, the time changes from next Jumu'ah at 12:30. Also, all the khutbahs are going to be recorded, so inshallah you can check it out on our YouTube channel from this Jumu'ah.